VR gaming should be way bigger than it currently is in 2025. Now, obviously I'm gonna make a statement like that because I am a VR evangelist. I have absorbed thousands of hours of VR content over the last 9 years or so. I am completely integrated into this medium. I fully believe in it. I have a YouTube channel basically dedicated to telling people how cool VR is and trying to spread the word about this medium that I love. And I wear this box on my head 3 or 4 times a week, every single week. So obviously, someone like me is going to make that statement. But I don't think that makes it any less true. I think VR, as a vessel for video games, should be so much bigger than it is in 2025. Now I say that as someone who, at his very core, my very foundation, I am a gamer. I am a video game lover. I have been playing video games basically my entire life, since I was a tiny, tiny boy, watching my dad play Amiga games. I think it was actually older than Amiga, might have been Commodore, I can't remember. He played a Spider-Man game where Spider-Man was basically just a little red and blue line, and you had to get around and beat up bad guys and stuff. I've been fascinated since I was tiny. And the first time that I experienced VR, I immediately knew how transformational and phenomenal this medium had the potential to be. Could be. It wasn't maybe as incredible as it could be when I first tried it, but I could see the potential and it won me over, and I thought, yeah, this is actually the future of video games. This is it. This is the next step. This is how we move forward. This is how we make things more immersive, more believable, and just better. Today, I'd quite like to rant for a few minutes about why it might be that the majority of people don't have that same reaction. People who absolutely adore video games just like I do, try VR and come away massively underwhelmed, or they don't stick to it. They drop out. They play it for a little while and then they think, yeah, this kind of isn't for me. I don't really enjoy it. It's a bit of a gimmick. It's a bit of a hammy thing that I don't think I would ever sit and actually put on my head. Why is that? What is VR doing wrong, and what could it do better to capture and keep more people involved in the medium? Because I want more people to play. You piss! Get off me, you shit! I want more people to play this medium. Are you dead? No. That I absolutely love. Come back here, you frog freak! Stop it! You're ruining my video. For God's sake! Jesus Christ! See, in that moment, I wasn't playing as James Sunderland. I was James Sunderland. That was stressful. And I got to fight this weird body bag, lycra, pant-wearing freak physically with my own 2 hands and this plank of wood that I'm holding right now. Right, where am I right now? Okay, I'm there. I'm just going to go into that little building, and then I'm going to go into there, maybe smash those windows. I'm just going to wander around. I don't really have an end goal for this video. I just more want to talk about VR. I want to chat about VR for 20 minutes. Kind of a follow-on to the depressing video I did a couple of weeks ago. So a couple of weeks ago, I made a video where I said that VR isn't dead, but it feels like it's kind of sick or dying in 2025. Now, I fully stand by everything I said in that video. It was a rant, it was unscripted, I hadn't planned any of it out, but I truly feel that way. Everything I said in that video, and you can go and watch it if you'd like to go and watch it, everything I said in that video, I fully feel. This year in particular feels like a massive step backwards for VR. It feels a lot quieter, and it feels like the forces for good in the world of VR, i.e. the metas of the world, who have been pumping money into it for quite some time now, are less interested in VR gaming this year and are much more interested in things like AI, or are they AI? The glasses they're making, the Oakleys and the Ray-Bans, that kind of stuff. It's very AI focused, AR focused. And VR gaming is kind of being left on the back burner. It feels like the money's kind of run out this year. The games that are coming out are a little bit underwhelming. And that kind of leads me to where we are now. I think one reason why people don't stick around in the world of VR, despite it being so fucking phenomenal, is the fact that there's a lack of consistency in terms of the level of quality of the output, the games that come out. Sometimes we'll get an absolute banger. We might get one incredible, phenomenal game in a 6 to 12 month period, and then we kind of just get nothing. Smaller indie titles that are absolutely valid, because VR is filled with indie developers, but they're the kind of thing that won't keep your mainstream audience coming back and playing time and time again. Now, I'll use an anecdotal example right now. Oh, can I open this? I think I can, can't I? Move. The used key, and then that. Brilliant! There we go, I got a coin. And now there's a monster in here. Fan-bloody-tastic. You freak, you freak. So, I'll give you a little anecdotal example. So, last year and the year before, I think I had 8 or 9... Come on, you bastard! 8 or 9 in real life friends, people I actually know and interact with on a daily basis outside of playing VR and chatting on the internet. 8 or 9 people who had purchased VR headsets and who were playing with them, using them, on a weekly basis. They were engaged in this niche. They were engaged in this medium. They were playing Walkabout, they were playing through little platformers. A friend of mine got really into Moss. They basically worked through the greatest hits of the Meta Quest 2 or Meta Quest 3 back catalogue. And they were having a great time. We were playing Walkabout kind of regularly, we were getting on, we played some Phasmophobia. It was a really nice time, and for me personally, I kind of thought, oh, this right here is a turning point. Because this is the first time where I've not been alone. You know, I've been there, the VR believer, for years. You know, trying to convince my friends to play this thing. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of them had it. And I was like, oh, this is it! VR's finally happening. And then they stopped. It went away. All those quests went onto a shelf somewhere. They stopped playing with me, they stopped playing with each other, they stopped playing with the device. There wasn't enough reason for them to continue to play. And I know that anecdote is specific and personal to me, but I'm almost confident, I'm almost sure that you out there watching, if you're already ingrained in VR, I bet you have examples like that too. I bet you know people, friends. Go away. Are there more? Oh, hello! Can you get in here? Do you know how? Yeah, he knows how. He's a freak. Yeah, I bet you out there who are watching, I bet you have stories like that. I bet you have friends who, for a while, played VR and you thought, oh, this is it. Finally, VR is doing the thing that I've wanted VR to do for 9 bastard years. And then maybe it stopped, it changed, it petered out, they stopped playing. Those quests are now gathering dust. Why is that? There's a monster in the fog over there. I'm going to go and kill them. So, what is the reason? Why is it that VR as a medium doesn't cling on to people in the same way that flat screen gaming does? Now, I don't think it's a simple answer. I think it's probably multifaceted. I think there's probably lots of different reasons why VR doesn't cling on to its audience as tightly as conventional gaming. But I think one of the reasons, the first one I'll talk about, is effort. It's far more effort to come home after a long day of work, or just at the end of a day, or at any point in your day, and put a box onto your head and stand up potentially and exert energy to play a video game. Not everyone wants to do that. Most people want to engage in video games in a really passive way. Immersion only really matters to the most die-hard video game players and those that already love VR. We want to be as immersed as possible, he says, whilst beating this thing up, and VR gives us that. But not everyone wants that. Most people who play video games want it to be easy, they want it to be immediate, they want it to be passive, they want it to be relaxing. They just want to have a nice time on the sofa. They want to sit on the sofa with a can of drink and a packet of peanuts and play a video game. They want to play Battlefield 6 with their friends, and that's immersive enough. There's explosions, it feels like you're going to war, it's great. They don't want to stand here with a headset on, getting sweaty, exerting themselves. So that's reason one. Reason two is meaningful content, sticky content. I don't think we have enough meaningful, sticky content in VR that gives us enough reasons to come back and play it time and time again. One of the best examples of meaningful, sticky content is Walkabout Mini Golf. Walkabout Mini Golf has absolutely nailed it. Demio to a degree, Beat Saber to a degree, more of a health reason. All of the fitness games really, Synth Riders, Boxing Underdog I'm sure will be another one that's very popular. Games that give you a reason to come back and play time and time again are kind of few and far between in VR. And that's a shame. I often hear from my friends that used to play VR, they say, oh well, what is there to play? What's come out since? Is there anything new that's worth playing? And I'll be like, bro, we had Batman Arkham Shadow, we had Behemoth, we got a Metro game, we've got an Aliens game. And they kind of go, oh, okay, that's cool. They don't go and play it, though. So if those kind of big IP aren't enough to win over the general audiences who aren't as enamored with VR as me, what do we do? Like, where do we go? If Batman can't save us, is Deadpool really going to save us this year? Is Deadpool really going to do what Batman couldn't? What Alien couldn't? You know, is Thief going to do what Behemoth couldn't? Oh, no. Oh, jeez. You shitty Ricker. Get out of here. Get out of here, you little freak. Now, look, I say all this whilst standing here playing one of my favourite games of all time, in the most immersive way that I genuinely never thought I'd ever be able to experience this game in. I didn't think I'd ever be able to play a full first-person motion-controlled version of Silent Hill 2. But I can because of VR. But there's a massive caveat to this. If you want to do this, if you want to do one of the coolest things that VR offers you, there's a lot of effort involved. You need a PC. You need a PC copy of Silent Hill 2 Remake. You need to have a basic, foundational, level of understanding of how to use mods, which is effort in itself for a lot of people who are just general consumers of video games. You then need to go and find the Unreal Engine mod. You then need to find the script that PreyDog has created, the mod that PreyDog's created to use this game in VR. You then need to figure out how to add that to UEVR. You probably then need to join a Discord channel to talk to people to get the best results from the performance. Then you need to jump in and you kind of figure, oh, it's kind of running a bit bad, I need to tweak something. It's not simple. It's not simple. It's so easy for me, again, someone who's fully integrated, to stand here and say, oh my god, Silent Hill 2 in VR is a game changer. RoboCop in VR is a game changer. All of the... Ready or Not in VR is a game changer. But until these things become easily accessible and easily playable, usable... Can I pick that up, please? 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 Oh, I can't pick up the pissing health drink. See, look, there we go. Another reason why... Oh, thank you, it's doing it now. That's nice. There we go. Another reason why these things aren't as slick as they should be. Until these kind of mods and like mind-blowing experiences become easy, super easy for anyone to do and play, it's kind of a moot point. It doesn't matter that we've got Silent Hill 2 in VR if your general consumer can't quickly and easily set this thing up and start playing. For 99.9% of people who are curious about VR, this isn't the VR experience they will have. This isn't it. The experience they will have is with things like... Can I heal? Oh, thank you. Is with things like Walkabout and like Moss and like Demio. Games that just released onto the Quest. Native games that they can download and play. This isn't the average experience for your average VR consumer. This is definitely the outlier. This is an exceptional case. And it's so easy for me to get lost in that and kind of forget that and sit here making videos about Silent Hill and Ready or Not and saying VR is phenomenal. VR should be so much bigger than it is because I'm having experiences like this, whilst 99.9% of other people are having experiences like Walkabout, very good game, Moss, etc, etc, and they're just not setting the world on fire like these experiences are having for me. I guess what I'm trying to say there is, VR is incredible, but I'm having to kind of curate and create these experiences for myself. They aren't there, they're not readily available for me if I just came into VR tomorrow and wanted all this stuff. There's an element of effort that has to be put in to obtain the best VR experiences on the market right now. You don't encounter that in flat screen gaming. You don't start playing flat screen games and then go, oh, I'd quite like to play that Battlefield game, and they go, oh, well, first you have to learn how to mod, and then you have to download this additional thing, and then you get this script from a Discord channel, and then you talk to Joe, Barry, and Alan, and they'll teach you how to get... That doesn't exist in flat screen gaming. It only exists in VR because it's such a community-driven experience. Oh, there is a way into this shop. I'm certain there's a pissing way into this shop, and there's some great shit in there. Oh my god, there's a bug. It's fine, it's dead. And I think the other thing that's stopping VR from reaching its true potential, its full potential, is form factor, comfort, size, all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's necessarily specs, I don't think it's necessarily field of view or resolution or anything that kind of changes the fidelity of the experience you're having inside the headset. Yes, a Quest 4 as a standalone piece of kit that can output even more impressive visuals than the Quest 3 would be fantastic, but I don't think it's going to change the perception of VR to those who don't want to wear a big bulky box on their heads. As an aside to that, I don't think we necessarily need more VR hardware that's like pushing the limits of FOV and resolution. I'm not going to say no to it. If Valve Decard comes out tomorrow, I'm going to do a backflip, and I'm going to be so happy, and I'm going to buy however many I can buy immediately, because I know I'll want that. But for your bog standard normal VR consumer, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Valve Decard doesn't necessarily fix any of the problems that your general consumer's going to have with VR. Unless... Oh my god! Unless Valve Decard... I can't hit him. I can't hit the shit. I did now. Piss off. Unless Valve Decard is a couple of grams, really thin, really tiny, and really cheap to buy, and I don't expect that it's going to be necessarily any of those things. It might be two of those things, but it won't be the cheap part. Price of entry, form factor, comfort, I think they're genuinely the three things that are kind of stopping most people from getting into VR. Public perception is definitely another thing. VR has an image problem. It's seen as the nerdy thing that's very community driven, that doesn't have games. And to a degree, they're kind of right. We don't have consistent, high-quality games like you have in flat-screen gaming. Usually there's 2 or 3 big, like normal games per month. But in VR, we're working with way less developers, working in a way more confined environment. The money isn't quite there. The devs are smaller. So we don't have constant VR content coming out left, right, and centre. We do have to wait a little while for our kind of big watershed moments. I need a syringe. Don't have any syringe. I'm just going to die. Can't even say syringe anymore. There's not as much content. It's not as much content. It's not free flowing in the way that it is in flat screen gaming, and that puts people off. And then there is the perception thing. People think it's a bit nerdy. People think it's a bit stupid, a bit niche, a bit silly. And it is big and it is bulky. Right now I'm sweating. I can feel the sweat on my brow. I can feel the sweat on my eyes. It's hot. Do I want to stand here for another hour? No. Am I thinking about wrapping up this video? Yes. I'm definitely thinking about wrapping it up because I've kind of had my fill now. And I'm ranting, and that's entirely what this video is, but I like to rant every now because it gets my head kind of clear and empty, and it's nice to do. Come here, you bastard. Ah! Yeah! 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 Swashbuckling you to death. Actually swashbuckling myself to death because I am about to die. But it's okay. We'll have a cheeky little health drink. A little super malt. An alcoholic beverage. I'm going to leave you with something I said to Gamertag VR a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember exactly what I said. If you are someone like me or someone like Gamertag VR who absolutely believes in VR right down to its core, you think this medium should be way bigger than it currently is, and you spend a big portion of your life trying to get that message across, it can often feel like an uphill struggle. especially when you're looking at years like this year, and the best things you can point towards are Thief and Deadpool, and both look fantastic and we're excited for those games. But outside of that, what else do we have to point to? On the flip side, if you're a VR detractor or someone who doesn't really believe in VR, you've actually got quite a lot of evidence and examples to point towards to counteract all the positive that we say. It's really easy for people outside of VR to turn around and go, yeah, well, here's an example. Ubisoft aren't making VR games anymore because their game didn't sell as well. Here's an example. This game just came out and it has 10 concurrent players on Steam. Here's an example. There's so many tangible examples in the real world that you can point to for why VR isn't going to become the big thing that I think it deserves to become. So it's hard sometimes existing in this space because it feels like you're singing the praises of something that everyone else hates. And I know that's not the case, but it can often feel like that. It does feel like an uphill struggle. There's so much evidence that points to VR stagnating rather than growing, especially when you've got Meta dedicating basically all of Connect this year to not VR gaming and to everything else. You know, AI is the new tech bro baby that everyone's loving right now, and VR is the forgotten child that people aren't really interested in at this moment. So it's hard to love VR sometimes, but I continue to love VR and I will always love VR. But it's worth acknowledging and understanding that for me, this is VR. All these things that I have the time and the effort to achieve. Normal consumers do not have the time or want to put in the effort to achieve something like Silent Hill 2 Remake in VR. This is considered too much effort. I want to kill one more slippery, slimy freak, and I think there's one underneath this cop car, so I'm going to coax them out by smashing a window. Come on! Hello! You're going to die now! You're going to die now! You're going to die! Take that with your stupid high heels! Oh no! He's flipping, he's giving me the runaround. Don't you dare. Don't you dare, you piece of dick. Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon for another one. Love you all very much. I don't think VR's going anywhere. I just think we're still not there. We've not reached full potential. And I think it's going to be a while before we see it. Honestly, look how stunning that looks. This is phenomenal. Moments like this, I'm like, how could you not believe in VR? But I have to ground myself. This isn't the experience 99.9% of people are having. This isn't VR. The opposite of what I used to call my videos. This isn't VR for most people.